It is the Thursday, April 7th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East here with you. We've had a band of rain and a bit of thunderstorms rolling through late in the last night time period into early this morning. That's exiting very quickly. And we'll talk about what's ahead, including another really good chance for a freeze in many spots over the weekend. Pretty chilly weekend on tap. There's your highs yesterday. It wasn't a bad day, around 60 for the high in Greensboro and Charlotte, 65 in Fayetteville. 50s up in the mountains. Specifically, it was upper 50s and low 60s for most of the Triad viewing area. A little cooler in the foothills. There's your Charlotte highs, 60 or so yesterday. Again, certainly not that bad at all. Now we look at your readings this morning. Relatively mild, certainly much milder than what we had yesterday. 40s right now in the mountains and the foothills, and then 50s in the Piedmont, some 60s near the coast. Look off to the north of us. Here comes the next big shot of colder weather. It's been building in Canada. It is now dropping southeastward, and that is going to give much of the eastern part of the country a pretty chilly weekend overall. And here's the storm reports from yesterday. Had a lot of severe weather in parts of the Ohio Valley and the Tennessee Valley, even a couple tornado reports there in southwestern sections of Georgia. This was the radar as we've gone through the past couple of hours. And what's left of that activity that caused the severe weather yesterday still moving through the Carolinas this morning. And again, you've had this batch of rain, some of it pretty heavy, moving through really all of the state in a band that's roughly 100 miles wide, west to east. And that's been progressing through the region at a pretty good clip. Some fairly gusty winds with some of this activity, some lightning and thunder too. There's your most intense storms early this morning, kind of falling apart down to the South Carolina. And as we go through the day, watch the high-resolution modeling. That morning batch of rain is gone even off the coast by early afternoon. Now, as another cold front approaches this afternoon, maybe one or two isolated showers try to pop up this afternoon or this evening in the region. I don't think it's a terribly big deal. But again, as this second front approaches, watch the uptick in the chance of just a couple of showers out there. And it will be a windy day, especially as that second front approaches. Look at these afternoon winds, could gust over 25, 30 miles per hour in the Piedmont zones later on this afternoon. Temperature's not bad, though. Here's your highs today, looking pretty decent, and then a little bit cooler tonight than what we're seeing this morning, with your Friday morning lows shaping up like that. Now, another disturbance clipping into the region by tomorrow evening. So I think a lot of sun through most of the day tomorrow, maybe one or two isolated evening showers. Friday, not too bad either. There's your highs. But then here comes the cold weather over the weekend. That is going to be the big weather story this weekend. Some pretty chilly April weather. Here's what we're going with for your Saturday afternoon. High temperatures across the region, and I still think there is a very, very good chance of a freeze in widespread fashion Saturday night into Sunday morning. There's our Sunday morning low temperature forecast as of now. So pretty significant freeze on the way, and still pretty chilly for Sunday, but a big warm-up then sets up with highs back in the 70s by Monday. So here's what this looks like in the upper levels at the 500 millibar level. This is the European model, your trough this morning, buckling through the region, and then that trough, the main weather player over the weekend. And then we go out to next week. There's one system approaching Tuesday. Notice this piece of energy getting left behind on the European model. That is an error that sometimes happens with the European model, and so you wind up then, and at the end of the week, this is Thursday evening, this big cutoff low. And I'll show you what that looks like precipitation-wise in just a minute. But let's compare that to the GFS model at 500 millibars. There's your Tuesday system, and then late week, this comes through much quicker. This is Wednesday night on the GFS. So the next little system tries to ripple through. Now here's your 5,000-foot temperatures off the European model at their coldest this weekend. This is Saturday evening. The minus 8 degrees Celsius line down to roughly I-40 in northwestern North Carolina. And so let's take you through this. This is this afternoon. Again, as that next front approaches, you can see it right there. If you look at the kinking of the isobars, that's where you could have a few isolated showers pop up late this afternoon or this evening. And again tomorrow with some colder air aloft overhead, maybe a couple of isolated very late day showers. But then here we go, big high pressure, cold high pressure building into the region. This is Saturday evening. So here you go. These are highs off the GFS model Saturday. Now we will have some very gusty north and northwesterly winds throughout the day. That'll cause some downsloping warming east of the mountains. And so these temperatures will be warmer for highs than what you see indicated here due to that downsloping effect. But it is going to be a chilly, breezy Saturday. Look at the winds off the GFS model, those northwest winds really cranking Saturday afternoon. Now you get out to Sunday morning, big area of high pressure directly overhead. And that's going to give us that cold night, Saturday night into Sunday morning. There's your GFS low temperatures, and these may not be too far off from reality by the time Sunday morning rolls around. Now, by Monday, look at the southwesterly flow, very well established, so temperatures rebounding very nicely by that point in time. And then here we go Tuesday with that next round of showers and thunderstorms moving in. And then really not much after that point on the GFS precipitation-wise. Now here's the Canadian solution. This is valid Friday of next week, and there's your next system, that cutoff low I showed you, but it stays basically suppressed to the south of North Carolina. On the European model, there's the Tuesday system moving through, and then it eventually moves that low up here. This is Thursday, still dry, kind of cool in North Carolina, and then finally by Friday, you get the clouds, the cool temperatures, and the rain with that system. I have not gone with that scenario as of yet. Again, I think this might be the typical European model bias in effect, and so for the time being, I'm not going to go with this wet late week scenario next week, but it is a possibility that's on the table. All right, that is it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody have a great day, and God bless.